Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The Price is My Life on the Inside Edition with James O'Keefe every Tuesday at 1 o'clock, live from Florida. Today, well, we have the strike against Iran. We have footage of people are concerned about homegrown terror and things happening in the United States. We're going to talk about that, talk about my meeting with the president on Friday night and flashbacks to that, as well as an update on the Epstein cover-up, an update there. This show brought to you by our faithful sponsors, American Independence Gold and Impact Health Sharing, two partners who believe in protecting what matters most, your future and your well-being, two things that are very much in danger right now. We're grateful for their support, funding this type of investigative journalism, which is not cheap to do this type of investigative reporting. And we have probably the biggest bombshell coming up of my career. I was going to launch that this week. I was going to launch that today, but I'm holding because I want to go deeper into what we are uncovering. Early Saturday morning, around 1:15 a.m., President Donald Trump announced from Mar-a-Lago that the United States, in coordination with Israel, has launched a major joint military operation against Iran, codenamed Operation Epic Fury, and we have that announcement video.
Time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries. And it was Iran's proxy, Hamas, that launched the monstrous October 7th attacks on Israel. Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. It has always been the policy of the United States that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again. They can never have a nuclear weapon.
Now, right before he did that, I met up with him. We have a picture of me talking to him minutes before he gave that address at the Mar-a-Lago. There's me speaking with the president, and I had an opportunity to brief him privately about a story that we have coming up. If you could leave that on the screen for the viewers. We have a story where we believe arrests are going to come. I know that you're concerned about accountability. I know that you want accountability. Everybody wants accountability. If the Republicans do not arrest powerful people doing fraudulent, illegal things at a pretty high level, I think politically the Republicans are not going to win the midterm elections. So we met with the president. Ironically, it was minutes before he gave that address. I did not know what was coming. Marco Rubio was there. A number of folks were there at the patio at the Mar-a-Lago. But I was there for the purpose of briefing the president about what's coming. And I can't tell you what's coming, except to say it's so illegal and it's so coordinated that the Department of Justice they must arrest those people. And the president was very supportive. So you got to make sure you subscribe to the O'Keefe Media Group channel. We have notifications turned on, because you do not want to miss this expose every single week. This is going to be the year of accountability. I want to show you, I have a good relationship with the president, and the reason I say this is because he was very supportive of what we have coming out. There was actually the last time that I saw Trump at Mar-a-Lago. We'll play you that video and what he said, what he did. He told some guy was filming, he told him to turn off the camera, and I'm not at liberty to disclose what Trump said to me after he told the cameraman to turn off the camera. But he's very supportive of the work that we do here, and he says he's going to help blow it up. So that's very good to see. But the very first time I ever corresponded directly with Trump was this letter from 2015. Throw that on screen. This is Cornell Dean says ISIS welcome on campus in undercover video. And that's President Trump's signature. That's the most unique signature ever. James, great work as always. Best wishes. It is okay to bring a humanitarian pro-Islamic and Syria group on campus. We find this quite relevant this week after questions arise about homegrown possible terrorism, given what's happening in the Middle East. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. Flash back to some of the undercover work we've done on college campuses. This is at Cornell. This is Scafito, which is an employee of Cornell University, Joseph Scafito, Cornell's assistant dean for students, agreeing that they can bring ISIS freedom fighters on campus. That was actually the first time Trump wrote to me, and the circle is now complete. So, in terms of the situation overseas, there's things that we know and there's things that we don't know, and what the government can share with us publicly, broad military objectives, high-level reasons for action, casualty figures and so forth, but what they cannot share, and as a leader I often wonder, what detailed intelligence do they have that I do not have? Sources and methods, specific threats, details that could compromise operations, and certain internal things that a leader has that they can't share with their staff or even with you. And that's really the issue at hand, isn't it? Is can we trust them after what happened in Iraq and WMDs? We do have correspondent Mike Casey in studio. Mike Casey has done some incredible work exposing voter fraud in New York City and other undercover work. Mike, I wanted to ask you your opinion. You have a pulse on X and a pulse in the conservative movement. Your reaction to this Iran development and the reaction of the American right.
Well, thank you, James. There's a lot of division on the right now over this. They seem very divided into three categories. There's the hardline hawks who support this. They see him as a liberator of oppressed people, the president. They see him as a person who's a strong man eliminating a threat potentially to America. There's also the hardline doves who feel betrayed. They think that this is a new war. They believe this is us drag us into another Iraq, and they're worried. There's a lot of libertarians who are concerned about this. Then there's a third category, which I think I fall more into. The people who, like me, who are anti-war, more the pacifist side, but see this as more of just pest control, kind of swatting a bug. I was concerned when President Trump launched operations in Venezuela. I was a little worried, but then I went to bed and I woke up the next morning and Maduro was captured and everything was done. It was over in less than 24 hours. Just like that, this Ayatollah gentleman was taken out in about 24 hours as well. They can take out these so-called powerful leaders in less than a day. I'm more confident this is just pest control at this point. I see Hegseth and President Trump as short-term fighters. They don't want prolonged. They want to be in and out. They want to be in there real quick, take out the threat that they see, and then be right out and not make it a big thing.
I saw Hegseth at the press conference. He kind of said he doesn't want a protracted war like 20-year-long war, but he did not want to give how long. The president said 4 weeks. I think he said that yesterday. But it does seem like Trump gets in and gets out as part of some strategy or tactic or negotiating strategy.
And here's where all three sides get wrong, is that they're never actually going to tell us what the real plan is, because it's not just us watching. Iran's watching, every other country's watching. The people we're fighting against right now are watching. So why tell them? Why give them the timeline?
Well, the problem is people are so betrayed by the Iraq War WMD's intel thing. But that seems to be my instinct. Is as a leader, my first reaction was, I'm not going to tell even my own team. I'm not going to tell everybody what intelligence that I have. So in many ways, it comes down to trust. The trust that people have for their representatives, Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump, et cetera.
Exactly. And people have a right to feel betrayed and worried about their politicians. After the war of the Bush era, the multiple wars that Bush got us into, people voted for Obama because they thought he was going to be this new pacifist, anti-war candidate, this new dove. But then he dragged us into several wars himself. So then people flocked to Donald Trump. And, President Trump in his first term seemed to be pretty good at getting us out of conflicts. Then Joe Biden brought us into a few. And now President Trump, he seems to be, he seems to be, ending wars around the world, but also kind of getting us into a few short-term little battles to kind of swat a few pests. I think he wants to be kind of strong, in a sense, on the global stage. I'm confident that he's not going to drag us into another Iraq, given the past 10 years he's been around in politics. But We'll see. People have the right to feel betrayed and feel worried given past presidents, but I think people, on the right especially, have seen President Trump's record so far. The problem is there's so many different factions. There's people on the right who want this to happen. They want a prolonged war with Iran, and
Why is that?
There's a lot of people who, just believe that Israel is something worth defending. People who believe that the people of Iran are oppressed, and I'm not saying they're right or wrong. People feel as though Iran is suffering under this terrible regime. We need to liberate them. It's our duty, that we have a moral duty as Americans to save them.
What percentage of the American right is split along these three camps you mentioned?
I would think that in the modern Trump era, most of them are anti-war / leaning into the more nuanced position. I think the more war hawk, faction, the more the Lindsey Grahams of the world are the minority now, and they don't realize that. They still want to live in the Bush years, whereas war, rah, let's always fight every battle. They're a dying breed, politically speaking. I think that you see more of the anti-war, pacifist Trump era rising in the past 10 years. And then there's people like I said, who are nuanced and give the president a chance to, give it a few days, few weeks or whatever, just to see what his operation is. But the war hawk era, I think, is at an end in the Republican Party. I think that more and more libertarians are joining this movement. And I think that there's some, it's healthy to have criticisms and skepticism, but I think that Hegseth and President Trump have proven so far that they're not long-term war fighters the way Bush, Obama, Biden, and every president before them pretty much was in the modern era.
Well, we'll see. But in his announcement, President Trump described Iran as, quote, the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Now, before we turn this show into pro this or pro that and litmus tests, I want to let the viewer know that is not what I do here, and that is not what we do here. We're not litigating identities. I'm against this culture of litmus testism. Why aren't you saying this and why aren't you saying that? That's not what we do here. We're examining the full picture, and the picture is often not black and white. What we've seen on the ground, experiences firsthand, on video, what the public record confirms is not black and white. There is some truth to that there may be terror cells here in the United States. And also, we're going to talk about Jeff Epstein. We're not going to go to the Middle East with our hidden cameras. We're going to talk about Jeff Epstein. There's truth in both things. And we're going to talk about that Jeff Epstein story here today because that story is not going away. I'm going to make sure it doesn't go away. And we're also going to talk about radical Islam. Now, just last week on The Price is My Life, I hope you caught my show with Tommy Robinson, who, by the way, was one of the most resilient people I've ever met in my life. Tommy Robinson and I talked about how easily perception can be weaponized. I went undercover in Sweden 2 weekends ago, wearing Muslim attire to infiltrate a leftist organization, and nobody questioned it because I was Muslim. Let's play 107 with Tommy Robinson.
We've had soldiers beheaded, bombings killing 26 children, people massacred, stabbed to death, terrorist attack after terrorist attack. Not one single politician at 650 in the House of Parliament has discussed or mentioned Islam or Sharia and having a discussion. Not one. In all these terrorist attacks, after every terrorist attack, we're told Islam is religion of peace. Now, you, in America, you can stop this, yeah? And you have to support any brave people that stand up and speak about it. So I went and met Keith Self to interview him. I met Randy Fine, and I realised that you've got 42 members of Congress that have come together for an anti-Sharia caucus within Congress. The Republican Party, if you're a supporter of the Republican Party, get onto your congressman and ask them why they've not joined that caucus. Because this here will be, I don't think you understand, what's happened to Europe happened like that. My town's gone like that. You need to get ready. You need to be ready for this because you will be replaced.
So this was him talking about if you go undercover as a Muslim, I said, they're not going to question you. So let's go to 108. I was just in Sweden 2 weekends ago.
I saw. Great work.
And I went into this Antifa, and I dressed up with a I don't know how to pronounce it. Camis.
Yeah.
Camis. Yeah. And they didn't bat an eye. Now I grew a little beard. I'm very, I'm Irish, so I mean, I guess when I have the hat on, it is he from Uzbekistan? But they didn't bat an eye. That might be an idea for you. You mentioned earlier that the United Kingdom people, Europeans, they can't say no. They can't object to Islamic. So if you just pose as Islamic, they can't say no to you, right?
Yeah.
They can't judge you.
No.
They can't stop you.
No,
I was shocked at how the Antifa people were afraid of being considered Racist.
It would destroy their worldview as well if they accepted any of the things that which are a reality, the problems of Islam. Then it would just break.
They're afraid of being called racist.
Yeah.
So you can almost
Everyone is.
Everyone is.
This is really an important point, and the reason I'm saying this to the viewers because you have to make them live up to their own book of rules. And when we went to Sweden, and we dressed in this Muslim kameez, let's go to 109 of me doing that, dressing up in a Muslim garb as a ridiculous-looking Irish guy with a red beard, dressing.
I'm wearing a kameez in Stockholm.
I'm getting jealous.
Can I wear it outside?
Yeah, why not?
So this is the wardrobe, but let's go to 110 when I'm actually welcomed inside this Cyclops Antifa building. Let's go to 110 and show them inviting me with open arms into this place because I'm dressed like this. This
Stockholm with Christian outside the Antifa. He can't go to the Antifa house because they'll kill him.
As we approached this colorful Antifa headquarters, we knew there were people inside.
We're knocking on the Antifa house, the door of the Antifa house in Stockholm. Look at this. Look at this place. Look.
Hey, God.
He saw me dressed in full Muslim garb, and he let his guard down immediately.
Hello.
I'm translating it.
You speak English?
James.
Yes, I'm from America. Recently moved here. I want to get involved, you know.
Yeah.
We have a homepage. This is Cyklopen. So you can go.
What is it called?
Cyklopen.
Cyklopen?
Like a cyclone.
What is inside of there?
I can show you.
All right, so if you just pause it for a second. That was an Antifa guy who immediately, they were throwing rocks at Christian and immediately welcomed us into this place because I'm dressed like that. And I think the point is for all of you in the United States, if you're thinking about doing some undercover work, this is a good way to expose who these people are. They cannot question you. I also saw a great tweet about Minnesota. I shouldn't blow my cover here, but I'm gonna blow my cover because it's foolproof. This is this tweet of they should have had them in the Twin Cities. ICE has undercover Subaru Outbacks in Colorado. So if you go to Minnesota, have a Subaru, and they're not going to question you because we drove in with an SUV and they got very angry at us. But all of this isn't new to us. We've tested these boundaries before on the ground with London in Andy No. If you have not been to Whitechapel Street, let's go to 111. We're outside of this building in London with Andy No, and I'm just asking questions about the public welfare for illegal immigrants and people from the Middle East. And this is this worker from it's called the Booth House, and he tells us to get lost at 111.
This Booth House, what is that? What is Booth House? Is it like projects?
We'll probably speak to the man.
Where are you from? Sudan? Do you go to the mosque across the street to pray? To the mosque to pray, yeah. Is this the public housing?
Yeah.
This is the public.
Oh, you're asylum seeker. Yeah. Okay.
This is the public housing for asylum seekers. Is this funded by the government? Yes, sir. Oh yeah. Are you asylum seekers? Asylum? Yes. Oh, I'm just a tourist. Yeah, I'm just a tourist.
But it's not allowed.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was getting kicked out here. So we got kicked out by the woman at the public housing, asylum housing. She's like, you're not allowed to talk to them. I don't understand that. Why would she kick me out like that? I was just standing on a public sidewalk.
Yeah, they're just kicking us right out. It was kind of so shocking to me because we weren't even standing in the building. And you're not allowed to engage these people in conversation. Get lost. And these are all Islamic-based people. If you haven't been to Whitechapel Street in London, it was what Tommy Robbins was referring to, and there's a mosque, East London Mosque, right across the street. Now, we went into the mosque, but we did not record or publish footage of that. It's my choice. I don't really want to film inside a place of worship. Some may do that. That's where I draw the line. Morality, like art, you have to draw the line somewhere. But this is 112, when we show the mosque. This is the parallel society that Andy No has reported on in Europe. Let's play 112.
There's been a certain phenomenon that's happened with Muslims who have migrated to Western countries, particularly in Western Europe, where as they come over, they become more fundamentalist, more extreme, more segregated from the rest of society. And so the Muslims here quite often are more radical than the Muslims from the country of origin.
They're more radical here.
Yes.
They have their own little society. We would call it a parallel society across the street. There's even a little Islamic relief, which is like Goodwill. And we're rolling up on the mosque. This is the East London Mosque, is that right?
Yes.
This is the East London Mosque right there. There it is. Yeah, so we're standing here in front of the mosque. It actually says main entrance for men. The men enter at the front.
Yeah, that's right. The women at mosques always use the back. They're kept out of sight.
The women enter in the back, and can we see the women? Is there a sign that says entrance for women?
Yes.
Okay.
It makes it very clear.
Separate entrances for men and women, and the lifestyle and the dress is completely different. They actually followed us, stalked us out of there. Mini markets. Andy's talking about terrorist attacks and people that speak up sentenced to jail time for their posts on social media. Let's go to 113.
As you walk around here, the lifestyle is completely different. The dress styles are different. Women, lots of them are in black robes. They have their faces covered. It looks like scenes from a Gulf Arab country, you could argue. Discussing issues like radical Islam and mass migration and integration issues, it's just something that
You don't do.
yes, the British public are generally uninterested in, but after the number of terror attacks that have happened here, the number of British nationals of immigrant background or immigrant families who have joined Islamic State and carried out attacks. I mean, back in 2017, there were so many attacks here. The Manchester Arena bombing, where that was an Ariana Grande concert. There were all these stabbing attacks in London, car ramming attacks on the bridge. The attacks that happened right at Parliament as well. And the thing is, if people speak up, the state goes after those people.
People who speak up.
Yeah, there were people who were convicted and sentenced to jail time for their posts on social media.
Wow.
So after we get back from this message from our sponsor, we're going to talk a little about some of the work we've done domestically exposing this propensity for terror cells in the United States. Then we'll get into Jeff Epstein, as well as an update on Matthew Tiermond, a reaction from the Philadelphia Society showing whether he has been terminated in his board membership, as well as other financial ties. We'll be right back.
This is James O'Keefe. You know me for exposing the truth and holding the corrupt elite accountable. But today I want to talk to you about protecting your own freedom, your retirement. Now, gold is soaring above $4,200 an ounce right now and climbing towards $5,000. That's up over 45% this year alone, with silver closing in on $60 an ounce. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and major banks are now forecasting gold between $5,000 and $6,000 within the next 6 to 12 months. And that's why I've partnered with American Independence Gold, a veteran-owned company where proceeds from every sale help support the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. And right now, my followers get a free gold bar with every purchase of $10,000 or more. Go to O'KeefeMediaGold.com, that's O'KeefeMediaGold.com, or call 833-324-4653. That's 833-324-GOLD. This is James O'Keefe, where freedom isn't given, it's secured. This is not financial advice. Consult a professional before making investment decisions. All right, let's talk healthcare, because the system is a total mess. Do you really trust your insurance company? You're paying outrageous premiums, and months later, the bills still keep coming. Confusing networks, denied claims, surprise fees, now rates they're saying might go up 20% or more. And did you know that medical debt is the #1 cause of bankruptcy? Those are some of the many reasons why I suggest switching from traditional health insurance to Impact Health Sharing. Impact Health Sharing is a powerful health sharing community that takes the middleman and the corporate profit-driven bureaucracies out of your healthcare and puts the power back in your hands. You can save up to 50% and get clear costs, real savings, and no woke nonsense. You can pick any doctor, no surprise bills, 24/7 telehealth, maternity support. Take control of your healthcare before the system decides for you. Go to impactomg.com to learn more and get your free quote in seconds, or call 855-378-6777 now. That's impactomg.com, impactomg.com. Impact Health Sharing, built differently.
All right, we're back. One of the theory that I eventually confirmed in Sweden, wearing Muslim attire and ultimately getting access with virtually no questions asked, is a technique that we've used a number of times. It wasn't the first time I've tested this. If you go to Texas, South Texas, where there was something that happened over the weekend, here's a flashback from the Obama years. This is from 2014, crossing the border dressed like an ISIS terrorist. Dressed like Osama bin Laden, actually, and I recognize Osama bin Laden is dead. Let's play 114.
He's back! Not bin Laden, James O'Keefe.
This video, it's from the conservative watchdog group Project Veritas.
Waiting across the Rio Grande to show how easy it is to evade border security.
A recent trip by investigative reporter James O'Keefe was documented and played at the local grassroots meeting.
This video has caught a lot of attention online.
Roll some video of filmmaker James O'Keefe donning an Osama bin Laden mask and crossing the Rio Grande. Shtick like that doesn't work.
One admiring website has a nickname for him, Osama bin O'Keefe.
Do you feel safe?
I feel hot. Ginny Mo, CNN.
Get a load of this. A filmmaker is questioning border security
here in Cleveland.
So the first video there, crossing the border, the border patrol drove in the opposite direction, and we were running after them, dressed like this terrorist. Pretty crazy, because they don't want to be seen as insensitive. This is the border crisis, which is 10 years later. We made a film called Line in the Sand. A lot of those headlines. Interesting, Eric Bolling criticizing it as a stunt, as a shtick. But Senator John McCain actually testified in the Senate, cross-examined the head of the then Department of Homeland Security and asked him, how is it that you can let James O'Keefe cross as Osama bin Laden? A number of headlines came out of this. We also went to Cleveland, Ohio, and crossed Lake Erie in a boat, dressed in full Iranian Islamic garb. No questions asked. The Coast Guard was asked about this. You may not remember this, but these are all things that we did to expose how vulnerable we can be in this country to extreme ideology. Let's roll this tape.
Name is James O'Keefe.
Check this out.
James O'Keefe claims he crossed Lake Erie
From Canada to Cleveland on boat.
No one's stopping him. Not the police, not the Coast Guard. No questions asked in this situation.
It is possible that a small boat can come into the United States undetected.
The Coast Guard says they are looking into this matter.
That's us on the dinghy. Go back to the dinghy. That's us on a dinghy crossing Lake Erie, dressed up in black extremist garb. Look at this. Go back to the dinghy if you could. And no one asked me any questions. We took it all the way from Canada to Cleveland, Ohio, showing how vulnerable the system is. Can we go to the picture of the dinghy? Nope, we can't do that? Okay. Let's go to some of these other border headlines when we crossed the border, if we could. At the time, this was crossing the U.S.-Mexican border dressed as Osama bin Laden. Let's go to 116. Just, headlines. I'm sure this stuff happens all the time. How easy it is to do. 117. And now let's talk about the Cornell University story that Trump talked about, which is the dean of students saying it's okay to allow Iranian terrorist at Cornell. This is the dean of students. I'm not sure if he's still the dean, but let's play this tape, 118.
Cornell, where the dean says ISIS is welcome and come on down Hamas. What do you make of that?
Project Veritas, they have done some pretty impressive work in the past. Let's take another look at this Dean Joseph Scafito.
Maybe we could get like a freedom fighter to come and do like a training camp for students.
I have no idea. I mean,
Would that be a...
you'd be allowed to do something like that, just like bringing in a coach.
Pause.
To do training on a sport.
So he's saying just like bringing in a coach, you could bring in an ISIS Iranian freedom fighter to come to campus and speak to the students like bringing in a coach to do a training on a sports team or something. This is what your $80,000 a year goes to, to fund this sort of ridiculous absurdities. That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, any citizen journalist can go in there and dress like a terrorist or dress like a radical Islamic person, and just they just can't say no. So after this came out, Trump wrote us a letter. Let's put up the letter on the screen, 105 of Trump's letter, where he's saying, "Yeah, this is great. It got Trump's attention." No problem, Scafito said. The university is not going to look at different groups and say you're not allowed to do that. They can't say no, just like in Sweden. They can't say no in Minnesota to the Subarus. That's. I'm not blowing my cover by bringing a Subaru to Minnesota. There's no way. They can't say no. It's one of those things that Alinsky talks about, making them live up to their own book of rules. This is when I was at Project Veritas, and that's Donald Trump's signature. We're going to go to the Barry University story also about members of ISIS, but Mike Casey, back to correspondent Mike Casey. We have Mike Casey in studio with us, intrepid citizen reporter Casey, who will be working closely with us on the upcoming bombshell story. We can't tell them what it is, but what do you think about this claim that there are possible state terror Iranian sleeper cells in the United States?
Well, you can thank, this wouldn't even be a possibility, but you can thank two things for that. One is the unfettered, unchecked mass migration that has affected not just America for many years, but all across the world, including the UK. This mass migration has allowed millions and millions of people in without even, giving a second thought. They just walked in, no issue, no problem. There was nothing to stop them. And the other thing you can attribute it to is just this social engineering that you displayed, where people are just so terrified of being called racist that they'll put that before their own safety and security. They're more scared of being called racist than they are the security of their country.
And that's exactly what Tommy Robinson said. It's the fear of being called racist. It's really about fear.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's pure social engineering. It is purely a social construct, that fear. It's the media, it's these celebrities, influencers that push that fear, politicians that push that fear. And they've socially constructed this and engineered people to have this irrational fear. As you say, it's irrational. And a good thing that you don't live in the UK, because in the UK, people like you, me, Nick Shirley, Loomer, we'd all be in jail. Look what they did to Tommy Robinson, just for calling out what led to these sleeper cells allegedly being in America. That happened in the UK. Tommy Robinson spoke about it, and they put him in jail.
And one of the things that I think Tommy Robinson literally said, quote, the fear of being called racist. And if you are not afraid, they cannot harm you. As Ernest Hemingway once said, no thing can harm you so long as you do not care. So let's go to the Barry University story. This is with Laura Loomer. Laura Loomer, who I hired 10 years ago while she was in college at Barry University, talking about the same thing, a terrorist cell at the university, using university funds to fund it. This is 120.
At Florida College this morning, a secretly recorded video is now raising questions about whether Barry University uses your tax dollars to support campus clubs intended to aid members of ISIS.
Oh, so you do specifically want to send aid to ISIS?
Well, yeah. So maybe just change the name if I want to have the club. Like, do you have any suggestions, like, as what I could call it?
Yeah, we talked about maybe staying in the Middle East as opposed...
Sympathetic students for...
In support of the Middle East.
Okay.
As opposed to having the ISIS.
Yeah.
That tape is sparking a campus controversy, one that had...
So I'm just going to pause it right there. If we can keep playing it in a moment. But they're telling her to call it, this is Loomer's tape, sympathetic students for the Middle East as opposed to calling it terrorism. Again, this is what we talked about, the fear of being called racist, which has evolved over the years. It's changed, maybe not as bad in some cases, but worse in others. They're telling her how to lie. So maybe change the name. Change the name. What do they offer it in terms of what they should call it? Let's play that.
It's like is what I could call it.
Yeah, we talked about maybe saying in the Middle East as opposed
sympathetic students for
in support of the Middle East.
Okay.
As opposed to having the ISIS.
Yeah.
That tape is.
Now let's play the reaction of the local media. This is actually in Florida, South Florida, as well as the president of the university, Barry University, it's called. I guess it's a private school in Florida, and this is while Loomer was a student there. Well, let's see the reaction. This is I gave her the camera and I helped her do this, but she was retaliated against for exposing this. Let's play the local media reaction.
Sparking a campus controversy, one that had the school's president speaking out.
I'm incensed.
James Keefe se describe a sí mismo como un periodista investigativo. Dice que lleva 5 años utilizando tácticas de
And so, a student who got grades good enough to win a Scholastic Award last week, who is set to graduate in a couple of weeks, she cannot attend classes. She can't even be on the Barry campus, according to her suspension.
And Laura Loomer has graduated with a 4.0 GPA from Barry University after doing this. I mean, Mike Casey, your reaction to that? I actually think it's something that any college student could do. Maybe the Turning Point students could go into their dean's office and say they're a part of the Iranian state-sponsored terror network and they want campus funds. I wonder what the universities would say.
And I think 9 out of 10 of them would allow that to happen on campus.
9 out of 10?
Yep. The scariest part, though, is that in this modern day, a lot of people fear being called racist than they do death, than they fear for their family's safety. That just shows the psychological conditioning these people have been put under. And you and Loomer exposed that a long time ago. And really, it's that fear that keeps a lot of these people from doing this themselves. Like you said, any college student, any person can do this. Any person can just do it. It takes not that much time, not that much effort, just a camera and the will. People are too afraid of the R word, racist, being called racist. Think about that. Imagine fearing being called a word than your own life being lost potentially, or your family's safety, or your country's safety, your society's safety. That's the mental conditioning.
Well, I'll tell you what. Meet me at the middle camera here. I'll tell you what. If any of you want to do this on your college campus, I'm going to provide a camera to you, and we're going to expose them. All you have to do is send us a note. tips@o'keefemediagroup.com. That's tips@o'keefemediagroup.com. We want you to be brave and to expose the absurdity. It's on all areas. We're about to get into Epstein. Don't worry. People in the litmus test comment section. Why doesn't O'Keefe support this or support that? I'm not about supporting anything. I'm about exposing all of them. Everything. This is the same issue we had in Minnesota. It's the same issue we have in Sweden, which is a female-dominated society, by the way. Scandinavia, which we inherited in the state of Minnesota, because 1/3 of Minnesotans are Scandinavian, in this sense of niceness, the tyranny of niceness. So we're going to expose that, and we're going to expose the powerful cabal, the interests. We're going to expose them all, one by one. When I expose something, people say, why don't you expose the other thing? It's like, give me a chance. Give me a fucking chance. One thing at a time, ladies and gentlemen. I expose this. What about the other thing over there? Okay, well, I can't grow too quickly. We learned that at Project Veritas. I can't hire everybody right away. But I think the future is in individuals doing this, which is why I called upon you. I think it's a great idea to expose what's happening everywhere. So, speaking of what's happening everywhere, let's talk about Epstein. Right? They start bombing Iran. Let's talk about Epstein. Now that we've talked about radical Islam, we're going to go to that. We'll be right back with the update on Jeffrey Epstein. Is a continuation of our reporting last time. Now, if you're just tuning in, this is On the Inside with James O'Keefe every Tuesday at 1 o'clock. We are holding on to our big bombshell story. We'll be releasing it soon. We're corroborating. But this is going to be the biggest story I've ever broke in my life. I'm not exaggerating. And the reason why, and I'm not just saying this, it will lead to arrests. This one is going to lead to federal prosecutions. I guarantee it. If it does not lead to federal prosecutions, there is going to be a constitutional crisis. It is going to be such a dereliction of duty of the Department of Justice that they will become the story, whether they like it or not. I've spoken to the president about the story I'm talking to you about. He knows about it. He expressed support and that he will get behind it, and there will be accountability. That is going to happen. I will assure that it happens. But I'm not breaking that story today. I'm not breaking that story today because our work requires months, weeks of work. I'm going to try to get it done. It may not be done by next week. It may be the following. But this is going to be something that we all talk about, but we never have the incontrovertible video evidence, do we? It's just circumstantial evidence. It's conjecture and hyperbole and hypotheses, but we don't actually get to see it. And that's what we do here. Now, does that matter? You say, well, that doesn't matter. We already know it. That's not true. You know it, or you think you know it, but your sister, your neighbor, they all disagree with you. They say it doesn't happen. And that right there is the issue at hand, isn't it? It's that you theorize that it happens, you speculate that it happens, and then you say that I know it. And your speculation and theory may be shared by 30 to 40% of Americans. But then there's the other half, or the other 30%, or the 20 or 10% extreme that would put you in a guillotine for simply saying it. So, the mission and the task at hand is for us to unite people by focusing on the truth. And what unites us is reality, which is what we're going to report to you. And it does matter. So stay tuned for that. We'll be right back. We'll talk about Jeff Epstein.
All right, let's talk healthcare, because the system is a total mess. Do you really trust your insurance company? You're paying outrageous premiums, and months later, the bills still keep coming. Confusing networks, denied claims, surprise fees, now rates they're saying might go up 20% or more. And did you know that medical debt is the #1 cause of bankruptcy? Those are some of the many reasons why I suggest switching from traditional health insurance to Impact Health Sharing. Impact Health Sharing is a powerful health sharing community that takes the middleman and the corporate profit-driven bureaucracies out of your healthcare and puts the power back in your hands. You can save up to 50% and get clear costs, real savings, and no woke nonsense. You can pick any doctor, no surprise bills, 24/7 telehealth, maternity support. Take control of your healthcare before the system decides for you. Go to impactomg.com to learn more and get your free quote in seconds, or call 855-378-6777 now. That's impactomg.com, impactomg.com. Impact Health Sharing, built differently. This is James O'Keefe. You know me for exposing the truth and holding the corrupt elite accountable. But today I want to talk to you about protecting your own freedom, your retirement. Now, gold is soaring above $4,200 an ounce right now and climbing towards $5,000. That's up over 45% this year alone, with silver closing in on $60 an ounce. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and major banks are now forecasting gold between $5,000 and $6,000 within the next 6 to 12 months. And that's why I've partnered with American Independence Gold, a veteran-owned company where proceeds from every sale help support the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. And right now, my followers get a free gold bar with every purchase of $10,000 or more. Go to O'KeefeMediaGold.com, that's O'KeefeMediaGold.com, or call 833-324-4653. That's 833-324-GOLD. This is James O'Keefe, where freedom isn't given, it's secured. This is not financial advice. Consult a professional before making investment decisions.
James O'Keefe, there's bombing happening in Iran, and we're going to talk about Epstein. We've already talked about radical Islam, so we're covering both bases here. And two things can be true. Thousands and thousands of Epstein files being released, and there was a lot to dig into. There was this video, there was this interview, and this got buried because we were doing some reporting on the meat monopolies. We were doing some reporting from Sweden on Antifa and radical Islam. But there was this one video that came out, and I just wanted to touch on this and tie it to some other things happening right now, where Steve Bannon was interviewing Jeff Epstein and asked Jeff Epstein, if he was the devil. And I'm going to play this clip and just comment on it. This is B1 video, 51 seconds. Epstein asking by Steve Bannon if he was the devil, and Epstein gave this answer. Play this tape.
What are you, class 3 sexual predator?
Tier 1.
What's tier 1's the highest and worst?
No, I'm
the lowest.
I'm the lowest. Your child's life.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
Pause. Epstein is asked if he's the devil, and he says, I have a good mirror. I just wanted to make a comment on how profound this was, and I feel like it's been buried. This is more profound than you might think. Now, I think Epstein there is talking about human nature. Epstein, is a reflection and a barometer of us all. Play the rest of the clip and we'll go back to the mirror line. But I wanted to go into that mirror, but play the rest of it.
It's a serious question. Do you think you're the devil himself?
I don't know. Why would you say that?
Pause. So Bannon says it's a serious question. I thought he gave a serious answer, which I want to unpack. But then Bannon talks about Milton's Paradise Lost.
Because you have all the attributes. You're incredibly smart. You remember the devil. Somebody knows
what?
The devil's brilliant. You read Milton's Paradise Lost.
No, the devil scares me.
Satan is at the number 1 or 2 archangel, and the reason he goes to hell and leads the rebellion is because he can't be the top guy. And his thing is, I'd rather reign in hell than serve in heaven.
I saw that in a movie.
Okay, that's a weird. His last comments, I saw that in a movie once. It's a little weird, but better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. From Milton's Paradise Lost, pride comes before the fall. Well, let's go back to this mirror comment that Epstein made there. I mean, I think humans are driven by power and desire. And one of the crazy things about what's happening in this country right now is there seems to be a good people, and I'm going to call you a good person, the audience watching, waiting for accountability. Where's the arrests? Where's the accountability? You don't seem to understand that incentives guide human behavior more than virtue does, which is so fundamental. It's just basic human nature. It's basic math. People don't do the right thing. They do the thing because it serves their own self-interest. And Epstein here saying that I'm a very good mirror, I think he's talking about human nature, and he is indicative of us all. He's a reflection of what motivates us, that we are driven by power and our desire, but not just power and desire, which is what the devil plays at. Humans are driven by, and this is something that Edward Epstein once wrote, or once said, 100 years ago, that man tends to satisfy his needs and desires in the easiest way possible, that we are driven by this exploitation in addition to our own self-interests. And Jeff Epstein here is talking about taking advantage of human nature itself. The thousands of people in these emails that we don't even know, no one's been held accountable, no one's been arrested, children are being raped, thousands and thousands of children, according to Pam Bondi. We have that video we played for you in the past. That they're just taking advantage of human nature. And the greatest trick the devil ever pulled is convincing the world he doesn't exist. So, better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. Defiance, pride, refusal to submit, and self-justification. Does that sound familiar to you?
Sounds very familiar.
It sounds like a story we did recently.
Sounds like someone we both know.
Involving a board member. Quote, everybody is corrupt except me. Do we have that quote, John? Let's play this quote. Everyone's corrupt except me. That's quite a quote, by the way. Let's play that tape. Everybody's corrupt except me. This was obtained in Miami just a few weeks ago. Go ahead.
The whole world is a fraud.
So that means you're a fraud too?
No, the world around us.
Well, why is everybody else a fraud but not you?
Well, check my behavior, call everybody out, and I'm happy to take ownership of any of my foibles.
Okay, so everybody is a fraud except me. So the devil for lack of a better word. Some people, I don't believe in the devil. Okay, whatever. We're talking about, I mean, I do believe in the devil. I'm a Christian. But I've actually heard people say, I don't believe in the devil. What we're talking about is philosophy and human nature and pride. The devil has pride as its major vulnerability, which is why Mr. Tiermond somehow did not know that the girl that he was speaking to, who is a 10, is filming him. And he's on the board of the organization that literally, or was on the board of the organization that goes out and gets girls to film people and expose them. That's pride that comes before the fall. So I just wanted to go back to that mirror quote. I think that's more profound than people realize about Jeff Epstein, because what it shows is that Epstein is simply a reaction to the world around him. And evil is going to replace evil. Satan was represented as a tragic, rebellious, but self-aware figure in Paradise Lost. Better to reign in hell and come in heaven. We're going to go to these files, but I just wanted to get correspondent Mike Casey, who's in the studio. He's working with us on this massive bombshell. You're not allowed to say what it is, but you're going to be in the field very soon. But your reaction to this idea of Milton's Paradise Lost before we jump into the files, Epstein's files?
You know, people often think of Paradise Lost as the story of when Adam and Eve lost their paradise, which was, you know, they ate the forbidden fruit. But they don't also realize that Satan lost paradise too when he was up in heaven at the right hand of God, and you know, when he betrayed God and went to war, he lost paradise. He went down to hell and brought, you know, not only himself but a bunch of other fallen angels with him. And you know, you can attribute that to a lot of things in life, whether it's Epstein or Tiermond. People were given free will and decision to choose for a reason. They can choose not to do evil. They can choose to do evil. And the evil supplier is often what people talk about the most, but people don't also talk about the evil demand. You can have a supplier tempt you and offer you things that are evil, but you don't have to give in to your demands and desires. You can say no. You're given that choice. So whether it's betraying someone on a board or collaborating with a human trafficker, you have the free will and the choice to say no. And that's what makes the story so tragic, is that it wasn't just the fall of man, it was the fall of numerous angels up in heaven too who lost their paradise. And frankly, I think Tiermond is a very comparable figure. You know, he was someone who was in a paradise type place. You know, Project Veritas was an amazing organization under you, James. But he decided that he did not want to serve in that paradise. He wanted to reign in hell. He wanted to burn the whole thing down, take people down with him, and reign in that hellscape that he created.
Well, we're going to talk about, I'll make one comment, we'll get into the files. I think for all of you, the audience, I think you expect your leaders and your representatives to do the virtuous thing. And what I would ask of you is to not ask your country to do that which you're not willing to do yourself. John F. Kennedy's quote from the 1960s, ask not what your country can do, ask what you can do for your country. So this whole idea that we're driven by power and desire, if you're not willing to suppress those urges, then you can't expect the people around you to do that. Let's go to the Epstein files. This is the B2. This is Epstein video showing off a minor victim. There's no audio here, but and I believe we've censored the image because there's a victim. Let's go to that real quick. And he's showing someone off into the video here. This is blacked out with a square. If you're just tuning in, this is James O'Keefe on the Inside every Tuesday. We're talking about Jeff Epstein on the week of Iran. We've also talked about radical Islam. There's a video there showing off the minor victim to the camera, which we're just reminding you of just how crazy this is. No one has been arrested yet. We're going to keep on the story. Emails have been the biggest part of the release, even showing an email where apparently the Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, CEO of DP World, sent Epstein a torture video. This is the torture email. B3 still. I am in China. I will be in the U.S. the second week of May. Where are you? I love the torture video. I love the torture video. What is the torture video? A lot of these redactions, we've gotten access to the things that are not redacted. I don't know why they over-redact on a case. Some of these redactions are silly. like the baby photo, which we'll get to in a minute, in Epstein's kitchen was redacted. We release the unredacted. The government releases it redacted. I don't understand. And this is Epstein even had a bank account named BAAL, Child Sacrificing Demon. He asked a JP Morgan affiliate to wire over money to him. This is B4 still. Asking him to wire over money. This is $11,000 to Wachovia Bank in the name of this account. Another email from the file suggested Epstein representing the Rothschild in an email, to Palantir founder Peter Thiel. This is B5 email 2016 from Peter Thiel to Jeffrey Epstein. Certainly not in Saudi. I just think it will avoid the Middle East for the next decade or so. She'll be back on the East. This guy was so networked. February 28th, as you probably know, I represent the Rothschilds. This is Jeffrey Epstein. So one of the things about being an investigative reporter is we catch this low-level graft and fraud, and then we have to go to who's at the top, who's in the conspiracy. And the DOJ has powers that I, as a reporter, do not have. I cannot use blackmail and extortion. I would be arrested if I said, we have this now, we'll try to flip you. I can't do that. I can ask for comment. Last time I just asked for comment about the Biden diary, the FBI raided me. But we want to know who's at the mid-level or at the high level behind this. And perhaps doing that would bring the whole thing down. It would topple everything. But still, I just wanted to give you a tease as to what we're working on right now, trying to find out who or what is behind this. I wish I had the powers of the DOJ I could use, for lack of a better way of putting it. You take the fraud that you've captured and you hold it and you say, hey, but I can't do that. That's unethical for me to do that. The FBI and DOJ does that all the time. Let's go to the next one. This is B6. Epstein mocked victims' faith in Jesus while abusing her. Blank said she felt God's presence next to her when she was in bed. She knows that Jesus watches over her and he helped save her life. Whoops. You should dress up as him when you see her. From Redacted. I don't know what context is missing that would prevent them from showing us who that individual is. One thing that citizen journalists can do, and I do intend to do this, is to go confront all these people in the files, like the Harvard professor. We need to go do that. I mean, it could take days to surveil these people, but we should be doing that. And ask them, put a microphone in their face and ask them what's going on. I mean, that's something that a citizen journalism army could and should do. That's something that you could do. Oh, I don't know how to do that. There's a question. I'm going to say what you said last week. I don't know how to do that, James O'Keefe. I don't know. What can I do, James O'Keefe? Hey, James O'Keefe, what can I do? Well, do you know how to use a phone? Do you know how to use your phone? I know you know how to use your phone because you take pictures with me at events. I know you know how to use a phone. I don't know what to do. Well, do you know how to take a picture and post it on Instagram? That's right. You do know how to do that, don't you? So you take the device that you use to take pictures with people, and you simply you take pictures of bad people. You take your phone and you put it up like you're taking a picture at Mar-a-Lago, but you don't do that. You take a picture of the bad guy. See, again, you know what to do. It's that you don't want to do it because of some other thing, like fear or shame or I don't know what it is, because I don't feel it, but many of you do. You're worried about like being branded with the scarlet letter or losing your job or some such thing, and that's the problem. That's the problem that Epstein is talking about, that he's a mirror. You see, he's a reflection of your fears and your desires. Your fears, not your desires, but the bad people raping children and so forth and torturing them and mocking their belief in Jesus. That's one of it. The other one is your fear to expose it. That's what Epstein's talking about when he says he's the mirror. James O'Keefe, I don't know what to do. You know what to do. It's whether you're willing to do it. I cannot give you the will. So, in practice, any individual out there can go into these files and go confront these people that are named. Some of them are named in the emails. Now, pedophiles are known by using code language for crimes they're committing, such as using food to describe what they intend to do. This is like code words, buzzwords. The only people that have it are the people that are familiar with the encryption. In one of the files, Epstein talks about how he has an aquarium full of girls, and they're like shrimp. And this is the baby photo that we actually released the unredacted photo of. It's just a baby. It doesn't show the private parts. It shows the water in the sink. So we have published that photo. It is kind of weird. There's our photo. For some reason, I don't know why the government redacted this. We released it. It's weird and creepy. Possibly worse than that, the baby's holding a shaker or a phallic object above a kitchen table. But we never get any smoking gun. It's all circumstantial stuff out there. So Epstein talks about shrimp cocktails in regard to children. No, some girls are like shrimp. You throw away the head and keep the body. On my island in the Caribbean with an aquarium full of girls. Very bizarre. And this is to Oliver Colomb. The king of Saudi Arabia has had a few white sharks in his palace. They're using these code words. And we're led to believe that no one is in on it. But if they go after just one or two of these people, they have to go after them all. And maybe the entire system would collapse, right? And that's what's at stake here. You indict one of these people, the entire system. It's a house of cards, to borrow the quote from Netflix. So what it comes down to is we have to have the incontrovertible video evidence. And maybe the powers that be, maybe the people in the DOJ will hate me for showing this, because we will force them to do their jobs. And if we force them to do their job in 1 or 2 or 3 cases, they have to do it in 100 cases. Or we have a constitutional crisis, and we do not have equality before the law. What's most striking in the files was Epstein ordered 55 gallons of sulfuric acid the same day the FBI opened a trafficking case against him. This is B6. Epstein buying sulfuric acid with fuel and insurance charge. It's freaking bizarre. And the acid order is 6 55-gallon drums of acid. And that was just a day before the FBI initiated a child sex trafficking ring. It's like something out of a movie. There's plenty of information about Epstein's jail cell and how he died. There was a figure who entered Epstein's cell the night he died. This is something we all saw and learned. B10, the person who entered Epstein's cell the night Epstein died. The photo of the human entering the cell. There's a still image of that from Epstein's jail cell log timestamps. At 10:39 p.m., the log states it appears there was an inmate ushered into that tier of Epstein jail area. That's 10:39 p.m. A flash or orange looks to be going up the TL stairs. Could possibly be an inmate. B12, FBI agents wiped the hard drive from Epstein's cell. If you're just tuning in, we're talking about the Epstein files, giving guidance to citizen journalists on what they can do, and teasing our story coming out very soon, over the next few weeks. Biggest bombshell of my career, will lead to arrests. If they don't, well, it's not possible. It's a crisis. It's a constitutional crisis. It's a paradox if they don't lead to arrests. And I know you want arrests. But you can't ask your political leadership to do that which you're not willing to do yourself, which is to govern your human behavior by virtue, not your own desires and self-interest. I've seen the enemy, and it's us. I've seen the enemy, and it's us. Remember that old Pogo comic? Jeff Epstein, are you the devil? No, but I'm a pretty good mirror. I've seen the enemy, and it's us. FBI agents wiped the hard drive from Epstein's cell. FBI log 1, quote, Redacted advised there's only one hard drive of the camera system was working the time of the incident on August 10th, 2019, when a DVR event went bad. Digital video recording, that's what that means. There was a system failure. Motherboard failed. Redacted advised an FBI agent was the one who pulled out the DVR, also advised that he knew that by replacing both hard drives, the system could be wiped, and he advised personnel at, that's the Metropolitan Complex, of that. Now, what's more interesting is that the night Epstein died, the FBI created a dead body decoy to trick the media from seeing it. Still B14. FBI document found in Epstein file discusses how a decoy dead body was used. Personnel from the Office of Chief Medical Examiner arrived to transport Epstein to their facility due to the large news media presence outside the MCC. B15. Xbox kicks out Epstein in 2013 for breaking the rules. This email is to notify your Xbox Live privileges have been. So who was involved in this conspiracy? Nobody, I guess. So, I will publish, and further, I'm announcing on this show, back to me, that I will indemnify, meaning that I will cover your legal defense costs for any citizen journalist who confronts anybody named in these files. I don't know what to do. Yes, you do. You know what to do. You don't know. You don't want to do it for fear or some such thing. You simply go to the Harvard professor who's teaching at his university, who's named in the files. You confront him with your iPhone or Android or wherever phone you have. You show him the file and you ask him for comment. We need hundreds of people to do this. That's a start. That's a start. That's the start. Coming right back, we'll finish the show by talking about who is protecting Matthew Tiermond. We have an update from the Philadelphia Society. We have a reaction from the organization he's on the board of, with more information about the money trail. See, all these things are kind of linked together. They're all kind of linked together, aren't they? And we'll talk about him possibly losing his license, facing crimes for sharing information. We will be right back.
This is James O'Keefe. You know me for exposing the truth and holding the corrupt elite accountable. But today I want to talk to you about protecting your own freedom, your retirement. Now, gold is soaring above $4,200 an ounce right now and climbing towards $5,000. That's up over 45% this year alone, with silver closing in on $60 an ounce. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and major banks are now forecasting gold between $5,000 and $6,000 within the next 6 to 12 months. And that's why I've partnered with American Independence Gold, a veteran-owned company where proceeds from every sale help support the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. And right now, my followers get a free gold bar with every purchase of $10,000 or more. Go to O'KeefeMediaGold.com, that's O'KeefeMediaGold.com, or call 833-324-4653. That's 833-324-GOLD. This is James O'Keefe, where freedom isn't given, it's secured. This is not financial advice. Consult a professional before making investment decisions. All right, let's talk healthcare, because the system is a total mess. Do you really trust your insurance company? You're paying outrageous premiums, and months later, the bills still keep coming. Confusing networks, denied claims, surprise fees. Now rates they're saying might go up 20% or more. And did you know that medical debt is the #1 cause of bankruptcy? Those are some of the many reasons why I suggest switching from traditional health insurance to Impact Health Sharing. Impact Health Sharing is a powerful health sharing community that takes the middleman and the corporate profit-driven bureaucracies out of your healthcare and puts the power back in your hands. You can save up to 50% and get clear costs, real savings, and no woke nonsense. You can pick any doctor, no surprise bills, 24/7 telehealth, maternity support. Take control of your healthcare before the system decides for you. Go to ImpactOMG.com to learn more and get your free quote in seconds, or call 855-378-6777 now. That's ImpactOMG.com, ImpactOMG.com. Impact Health Sharing, built differently.
All right, welcome back. So we have an update in the Matt Tiermond situation. we have a reaction. You all saw the video of my former board member saying in the video that he wanted to kill me, saying in the video that he thought that the whole world was corrupt except him. Sounds familiar. Saying in the video that he was going to kill me, shot a rifle bullet through the book, and that he was a confidential FBI informant. But he also said something interesting, that he was involved in a pharmaceutical company that could be sold to Pfizer. Other board members said the same thing, and he was part of the Philadelphia Society. What is it? It's a right-wing, conservative, old-school organization, and we have a reaction from the Philadelphia Society. If we can put that up, please. That the Philadelphia Society has issued a statement about Matt Tierman's involvement, and do we have that screenshot? Philadelphia Society issuing a statement here. Do we have that screenshot? This is actually one of the individuals at the Federal Society. Go back to her LinkedIn. This is Carissa Rayol, Director of Operations. And I think we have a recording of someone talking to, this was sent to us, about Matt Tierman's involvement. There it is with this so-called Federalist Society. Let's play this tape if we could, please.
Philadelphia Society, this is Carissa. How may I help you?
Hey, Carissa, this is Raider with O'Keefe Media Group. I just wanted to confirm if you guys got my email that I sent over to you. It was a request for comment, just making sure you confirm receipt.
It has been passed to our executive committee.
Got it. And then the other question I have for you is do you know that if Tierman is still a board member, is he still a board member with you guys or no?
I think you know the answer to that. It's posted on our website.
I'm just saying, has there been any movement in the past 2 days? Forgive me. That's what I'm asking.
No, there has not been. You've also, I believe, received a letter of cease and desist from our attorney, and I would appreciate it if you stopped harassing our staff and team with constant
Ma'am,
email.
where did you send that by chance? Just so we can know.
What?
Where did you send that? The cease and desist.
That would be a question for our attorney. I can have them follow up with you, but
that would be great.
But yeah, this is really inappropriate.
Why is it inappropriate for a
like,
request for comment? I've only sent
I've
you one
received
message.
multiple emails. I keep receiving multiple emails from people along the same lines. So
I don't know
if
those
you're
people.
instigating this.
I'm a journalist.
Or
I'm a journalist. I request for comment. I don't know what people you're talking about. I just do my job.
People who are purporting to be on your team.
I'd have to
received
see
like 5
that.
emails in the last 24 hours.
Well, people are really interested. He says he wants to
Just
kill
pause
James
for a
O'Keefe.
second. If you're just tuning in, you're hearing the Philadelphia Society, the organization Matt Tierman's on the board of, getting diluted. Just so many people asking, is he been fired? Is he on the board of this organization? And the woman thinks that I'm doing this. But in reality, like hundreds of people are calling, asking for comment. Like, who is protecting this guy? That's the question. Question of the day. Who is protecting Matthew Tierman? Who is Matt really working for and working with? That's the real issue. Of course that's the issue. That's what everyone wants to know. James O'Keefe took black cars and he spent money on security. That's financial misappropriation. That's so absurd, it's laughable. Then what really happened? What? And we never really find out. We find out circumstantially. We find out this guy is filled with envy and jealousy and hatred in his heart. He's not a good person. But who is he working for? Can we load up that letter in the prompter, guys? Can we put that on the screen for the audience? This is someone posted this on Facebook just yesterday. Can we get that up there? This is someone who How did he get on the Bell board? On February 15th, I sent a letter to the Philadelphia Society requesting the immediate removal of Tierman. I don't know who this person is, but they posted on Facebook. People are asking. Today I received a response. It is disgusting. I will post that letter from the president of the Philadelphia Society, but here is my letter to them. And the president of the Philadelphia Society called it colorful and unsupported by any facts. So he concluded the Philadelphia Society basically has no care for people who make threats of murder against people. So this was the letter that, hard to read, but the letter that guy sent the Philadelphia Society about our video, but the Philadelphia Society is standing behind Matthew Tierman. They're standing behind him. And as you recall, let's go to this clip once again, that Matthew Tierman says that he wishes that I was murdered instead of Charlie Kirk. This is clip 127. I just want to play that clip for you again and then talk about who actually is standing behind Matt Tierman. Let's go to clip 127.
I got multiple people who know me well and know my relations with Charlie, and James messaged me after Charlie was shot and said, be honest, when he was shot, did you not for a second wish that it was James? And I've honestly responded to every one of those people. The second I saw him get shot, I wished, that was my immediate first reaction, was why couldn't it have been O'Keefe?
That's pretty disgusting. It's pretty. The question is, who stands to gain? As an investigative reporter, when I look at a transaction, I look at who stands to gain. It's all about incentives. I wasn't raised that way, by the way. My whole life, I've not really been motivated by that. I think there are certain exceptions to the rule, so to speak. I have my own constraints. Perhaps one of my biggest constraints was being naive, being an idealist. That's what many of you want your elected leaders to be an idealist, be naive. But being naive is not good. It's not wise. It's not righteous. I was naive. But who stands to gain in the transaction? Let's take a look at that, shall we? Pull up that document from Bradley Woods, Petrogen. It says Petrogen on it, the pharmaceutical company Petrogen. And Petrogen, this is a sheet summarizing the company, the pharmaceutical company, which could be sold to Pfizer. The company focused on developing and commercializing therapeutics. And if you go to the bottom of that document, please go to the next page of the document. On the bottom it says Matthew Tierman, Bradley Woods and Company, and right next to him is Eric Singer, Managing Director, Bradley Woods. We reached out to Eric Singer for comment, but I'll tell you something. Therein lies the truth. Therein lies the truth that this individual from Bradley Woods and Company, the business partner or the contact collab with Matt Tierman, Eric Singer, therein lies the issue. And getting that story is the next step. So Matt Tierman talks about losing his brokerage license as a result of sharing about this information to the girl. Let's go to that clip. Do we have that clip? Talking about losing his brokerage license. And then we actually have the letter just in from the president of Philadelphia Society we're going to share with you. But first, let's play the clip of Matt Tierman talking about his brokerage. Go ahead.
Last week, Tierman says in text messages with the undercover journalist that one of the companies was about to get FDA approval. He asked her for luck tomorrow because on that day, the company which does gene therapy and therapeutics data targeting was submitting a timeline to the FDA. In another text message, Tierman describes how he's not allowed to talk about any of this. Quote, restricted during the terms of engagement where sensitive information can be used by those without the same fiduciary responsibility. He says he has a, quote, target on his back because of politics, LOL. The undercover journalist asks, what's the name of the pharmaceutical company? And Tierman says he can't discuss this over text, but Tierman later identifies the name of the company in person so that it isn't in writing. Tierman says he could, quote, lose his licenses and, quote, face civil and criminal penalties levied.
But I will dose you. I'm like a doctor. I trade healthcare stocks.
That's
so
sweet of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a sweet guy.
that's serious that you tell me which company it is.
Not a text. Yeah, I signed an NDA.
Oh, okay.
I can't fucking text it to you. Like, I've got a fucking company that I literally have an investment banking mandate where I'm under NDA on everything they do because they're in stealth mode. So yeah. And if I told you about it, you wouldn't have heard of it anyway. It's called Petrogen. But I can't text it because one day in court, like,
I get it.
that will like end up like I'll lose my license. I'll have criminal and civil torts. Like, so that's just common sense.
So I wonder what Eric Singer at Bradley Woods has to say about Mr. Tiermond sharing the confidential details of this pharmaceutical company that could be sold to Pfizer. He's going to lose his brokerage license. This is the issue at hand. But going back to the Philadelphia, we do have the letter in from the Philadelphia Society. Can we load that into the screen for the viewer, please, so we can read the letter? I haven't even actually read this yet. This is just hot off the press. Put that on the screen, please.
Need like 10 seconds on that.
Okay, we're going to have 10 seconds, but this is from, while they're loading this is from Law Offices, Joseph A. Morris, President of Philadelphia Society. And it's dated February 26, so a few days ago. On behalf of the Philadelphia Society and its president, I thank you for your letter. My colleagues and I in the Society's leadership certainly accord you the respect and committee that you deserve as a member of the Society, as a friend. So this is to one of the other members. The allegations you made against a member, they're not allegations. Can we zoom in on that a little bit so the audience can actually read along with me? The allegations you made against a member, although colorful, are unsupported by any evidence or by reference to judicial decision, civil or criminal, that might conclusively establish any fact. So the conservative organization, the Federalist Society, can we zoom in on that, please, producer? Is saying that the video of him talking is not evidence. Sounds like something the left might do. The matter alleged appears to involve a dispute between a member and trustee and a third party. Nothing in your letter indicates the conduct in question occurred at a meeting of Society. The underlying controversy does not appear to Society. The Society has no means of investigating the matter. Blah, blah, blah. The Society will take no action. Okay, so this is the president of the Philadelphia Society saying he will take no action on the Matt Tiermond letter, on the Matt Tiermond matter, of him saying that there is violence and saying he's going to murder me, saying he's an FBI informant that takes down conservative organizations, Steve Bannon, James O'Keefe, Don Trump Jr. Maybe the question is whether Matt Tiermond is actually doing this stuff to the Philadelphia Society, right? So that's interesting. There is Joseph A. Morris is his name. He's, I guess, in the law offices of Morris and De La Rosa in Chicago, Illinois. Can we go up the top of the letter, please? Is that possible? Or that's the screenshot we just took. So you can see there, Morris, De La Rosa. Okay. So, and then we have the letter from this individual back to the head of the Philadelphia Society. Let's go to the letter. This is dated March 2nd. This is dated yesterday. Do we have that letter? Nope. The March 2nd one. Well, while we're loading that letter from the citizen back to the president, I want to get Mike Casey's reaction to the Philadelphia Society saying they're not going to do anything.
Well, it really is a case of don't believe your lying eyes because we saw it. It's indisputable. It's right there. He said the name of the company. He did it right there. The question I have is who's protecting him? Who's protecting Matt Tiermond? And why do they want to protect him? Is what he's doing the goal and objective of a higher power that had him infiltrate Project Veritas, had him infiltrate the Philadelphia Society and all these other conservative groups? Did someone want him to bring down James O'Keefe and the Philadelphia Society and Steve Bannon and Don Jr. and all these other people he's going after? Who's after him? Who's behind him? And what do all these people know in the Philadelphia Society? Are they being tricked too? Maybe they're just stubborn, digging their heels in. Someone's protecting him, and someone wants him in there doing these things. He's not working alone, and that's the million-dollar question.
He's not working alone, but the truth always comes out. The truth always comes out, and we always get the story. Do we have the letter yet, guys? Can we load that up, please? John, do we have the letter? This is the letter that now that we've heard from the Federal Society, the citizens sent a letter back to the Philadelphia Society. Can we put that on the screen? This is, Dear Mr. Morris, I'm in receipt of your 26th February letter. I return the respect and comity, and yet will also, as a friend, be rather blunt. This is between people in the Philadelphia Society. You note that my colorful letter was supported by the evidence. That is a manifest falsehood, unsupported. As a lawyer, you should know the truth is a defense. Everything I wrote is substantiated by fact. It is rather astonishing in its nihilistic logic that you can assert Tiermont's murderous threats as inapplicable because it did not occur at a meeting of the Society. Your logic is enlightening and revealing. I did not know that Philadelphia Society stood for no principles whatsoever in spite of the aforementioned incidents. Viewers are familiar to the tactics of the modern-day left. The laws of nature and nature's God inform we are duty-bound not to only respect the natural rights, but to continue a just formation of the human soul. The bylaws of the Philadelphia Society employ language towards that end, a beacon of right of the understanding of the human condition. The organization has joined the ranks of the Washington Generals. The spirited side of me might end the letter as Rodney Dangerfield did when he sent a letter to the Academy upon hearing he was finally accepted. However, the better angels of my nature instruct me to state it more gentlemanly. Given the leftward drift of the organization, well, that's interesting, and its unprincipled position, this letter serves as my resignation from the Society with prejudice. Remove my name from the membership immediately. Return my money. Well, there you go. Wow. The membership of the Philadelphia Society is resigning over refusing to condemn Matt Tiermont's behavior and, in fact, saying that anything that in the video is unsupported by the evidence. So the question of the day is, who is supporting Matthew Tiermont? We've reached out to Eric Singer for comment. We will continue to reach out to Eric Singer for comment. We find it very ironic that, quote, conservative organizations, unquote, are anti-First Amendment and sending cease and desist letters to reporters trying to get comment. You can't make that shit up. Who's protecting Jeffrey Epstein? And we are going to break the biggest story of our career. I always say that because we keep outdoing ourselves. Where are the arrests? They're coming. Oh, they're coming. It's going to happen. If it doesn't happen, it's going to create a constitutional crisis. And stay tuned for that. We're already there. We're already in a constitutional crisis. Yeah, but it's different when you have it on video. Everyone knows that. Ask Nick Shirley. It's just different. It hits differently when it's on video. Totally differently when it's on video versus speculation, conjecture, opinion, and commentary. So that's the mission. That's the task at hand. And it's not just me that's going to be involved. We're going to have a small army of other citizen journalists getting the same exact thing. Don't believe it? Stay tuned. You have to believe it for it to happen. Do you believe it? Do you believe it? There are going to be arrests? This is not a rhetorical question. Do you believe that there are going to be arrests? If you believe that there won't be arrests, there won't be arrests. But if you make it happen, if you will it to happen, and if you work towards it happening, there will be arrests. Quote me, take this little part of the show, throw it in my face. There will be arrests, and we're going to make it happen. Because this year, effective in the month of March, we're going to expose the motherfuckers. Stay tuned. O'Keefe out.